If I bought 12 seats at the theatre and got bald men to sit in those seats,
everyone ready?
I could then write a spoiler on their heads, one letter at a time.
How many bald men do we have left to do?
But why? Well, it's all about my mate Charlie. We like Charlie. Charlie's helped me out before, even going above and beyond to help out in videos.
I am gonna burn.
But recently, Charlie has cheesed me off. Because Charlie spoiled Game of Thrones for me by telling me what happened.
I've literally just started it. Everyone knows that bit of it. Everyone.
You can't say that.
His argument was that it came out ages ago.
You've started it way too late, mate. It's like common knowledge.
I don't agree. Therefore, I'm looking to exact my revenge in the silliest way possible. So, this conversation was a number of months ago. I had just started Game of Thrones, and Charlie decided to tell me probably the biggest spoiler in the entire series. I think I was in the right that he shouldn't have told me. I mean, the barman also backed me up.
Would you think it would be okay to spoil what happens in the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones? To someone who's just started it?
Just started? No.
Exactly.
I've harboured some resentment towards Charlie for doing this for a number of months, and I wanted to get back at him, but I've had no idea how to do it until now. Charlie told me yesterday in a group chat he is going to be watching The Lion King at the theatre in London's West End. I'm going to spoil The Lion King for Charlie. I'm going to be making a sign. You know me, if you've watched the channel, I'm the sign guy. But the sign is going to be made out of people. Now everyone knows that the big spoiler in The Lion King is, spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1, Mufasa dies.
Long live the king.
Simba's dad gets killed. So I'm gonna make the spoiler Mufasa dies. So that means I'm going to need a person for each letter, but I'm also going to need a space between the two words. So that means I need MUFA 11 bald men. I also need 11 seats to The Lion King. So I snapped up 11 seats right in front of the stage for the exact performance that Charlie would be attending. And my, it wasn't cheap. £2,200. This video is sponsored by Shopify. But more on them later. With the seats sorted, I now needed some bald heads. I've got to do something I've never done before, which is put out a casting call for bald men who want to be written on. Right, I've got to make the first line punchy. Do you rarely use shampoo? If so, have I got a job for you? Looking for bald individuals to be a human sign. And it wasn't long before the replies came pouring in. There's so many people who are interested. It's a cool one. Hi, is this Tom?
Yeah.
I see you've responded to my casting call. Do you have any issue with being written on your head?
No, don't worry. It's not the weirdest thing I've done.
I'm not going to delve into that, Tom. Great, you've got the job.
Thanks very much. I can't wait.
Great, I can't wait to meet you.
And yourself.
Cracking. Cheers, Tom. Great, let's just get 9 more. I scoured more of the internet for some famous bald men, and once we had who we needed, the day of the show had arrived. With 10 bald men about to descend on silly company industries, I needed to turn the office into something suitable for our makeup artist. This is Bunny. Hello! I showed Bunny my vision for what was about to happen. The head's here, and you with your pen of choice, just scribing away. But her pen of choice wasn't that easy to remove. And is this easy to get off?
No.
It washes out of clothes, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's always. So don't put your t-shirt down. Where's my wipes? Please go and get my wipes.
We set up the office for our incoming snooker balls, and 20 minutes later, they arrived. Now, we were actually one bald man short, but that was intentional, as I was going to become a bald man. I'm also not out of the woods, so I'm getting involved. Got a bald cap. I should just shave my hair, but I don't want to commit that much to the bit. I was surprisingly excited to be turned into a bald man, and I was getting to know my fellow follically challenged friends. And I was amazed to hear that someone in our midst was a hero.
This is the second time I've seen The Lion King for free. Isn't that weird?
Why? What was the first time?
I got an award. I saved a bloke's life, and they give me this red letter day in London. Theatre tickets for The Lion King in a hotel, and drive petrol tankers. He rolled down the embankment, and I was the only one there, so I just slid down, put this fire out. got him out.
If I can just pause right there, Steve has just told us an incredible story of courage and bravery. The man's a hero. But all he got from us, however, was a very British response.
Good on you, mate.
Our bald production line was in full flow, and I was getting a bit nostalgic as I was sat in the chair. This very much reminds me of the Welcome to Luton bit, in the sense I don't really know how that's going to go down.
My life is just peg, peg, peg.
Also, we cut up all the tarpaulin from the Welcome to Luton sign and we're selling it on the Silly Company. There's only 100, so you can have your own little bit of the Welcome to Luton sign. So grab that on the Silly Company when you can. And the Silly Company is powered by Shopify, who are the sponsor of this video. My silly journey's been absolutely mad, from interviewing people on the street, to selling out a stand-up tour, to doing this. Talking the stand-up tour, Shopify massively helped because I wanted to release a special directly to you guys, because if it went on another streamer, they take all the rights and it's my baby. Shopify were like, yeah, that's no problem, we can make that happen. And loads of you are watching, which is amazing. Shopify commerce platform, so any business you want to get started, do it with Shopify, guys. They give you an awesome user interface, so you can edit your website really easily, and actually you don't need any coding experience, which is amazing. You can track your stock, see who's buying what and where they're from, and Shopify is a triple threat. You can sell online, you can sell in person, and you can sell on your social platforms. So, if you're thinking of giving something a go, turning that idea into a business, please use Shopify. Shopify are at the cutting edge for businesses and brands, so if you want to get involved, go to shopify.co.uk/MaxFosh. I didn't quite have enough bald men to get the rest of the URL. And thanks so much to Shopify for empowering me to become bald for the day. This is going to be really hard to take off. The Mufasa Dies production line was really ramping up, and the atmosphere was lovely. Men chatting to one another, exchanging stories over a bite to eat. But I was always hovering, making sure we were on schedule. How many bald men do we have left to do? That's not a sentence I ever thought I was going to say in my life. With everyone finally finished, including myself, don't say I'm not committed, I gathered up my gang of roll-on deodorant friends, we threw on some hats, and we set off for a day in the West End. Let's go. Off to the Lion King. Now, we made our way into the city as inconspicuously as possible, and got to the theatre, where I laid in wait for Charlie's arrival.
That's it, he's here, which is good. The intel I had was right.
As our spy on the inside, Charlie's girlfriend, ferried him to his seat, my bald men dripped into the theatre one by one to avoid suspicion. I then made my way inside and checked on everybody to see whether they were okay.
Hello guys. We all okay?
Yeah, I think so.
I, however, was starting to have second thoughts.
Anyone who, the Lion King, please don't ban me. Just a bit of fun, all a bit silly. So yeah, if you could not ban me, that'd be great.
It was too late now, though. Everyone was in position, and we had a few carefully placed camera friends to capture Charlie's reaction. But there was one piece of the jigsaw that I needed to slot into place. I wanted to make sure that Charlie would see our little sign, so I sent a brief text message telling him to look down into the stalls. With his interest piqued, it was go time.
Everyone ready?
There it is. The silliest spoiler imaginable. I will admit the music under this video right now is a bit overdramatic, but I put a lot of work into this, so I really want to hammer home this silly spoiler. People were loving it, this guy found it quite interesting, as did Charlie. I then had to sit and watch The Lion King for 2 hours with a bald head before I could finally get Charlie's reaction. So 2.5 hours later, I found him on the street.
You bastard.
And then look.
Mate, you look about 12 years younger. I think it's a good one. I think you should keep it.
Yeah, really?
Oh, it's so smooth.
Did you see it?
Unbelievable.
Well, thank you very much.
Ridiculous.